Welcome back to Education Matters. In the first segment, we talked about school resources, budgets, and heard from two teachers. Now we're joined by two individuals who work to support our schools and get their perspective. Thank you both for being here. We have Cassandra Watson. Cassandra is with the Wake County PTA, and Ashley Perkinson, who is with the North Carolina PTA. Now, Cassandra, I'm going to start with you. You've been very engaged in the PTA. I understand you helped start one at your children's school, and now you're involved overall with Wake County. What drove you to get involved with PTA in the first place?
Well, both of my parents were former educators, and I understand the importance of having a support unit such as PTA. My daughter started kindergarten back in 1998, and that's when I began my career in PTA.
Now, Ashley, PTAs have been around for a long time. When was, actually, what is the history?
It's around the turn of the last century, so it has been a very long time.
I remember fundraising events when I was in elementary school. I mean, who didn't love a cakewalk, right?
Yes.
But it seems to me that back then the funds were used for special projects. It was for like a new playground or a big trip or some kind of like fancy new equipment for the chemistry class. Right. But now, it sounds like you're raising money to buy supplies.
Yes, Keith, and I've been working with North Carolina PTA for about 10 years now, and we have seen that trajectory, seen a switch from really looking at forward-thinking projects to PTA supporting basic needs at schools, whether they're textbooks or janitorial supplies. So we have seen that shift over the last few years.
Right, which is unfortunate because obviously there are PTAs that raise a significant amount of money that could be, let's say, add-on things. It actually only makes me think about some of the things around the North Carolina lottery where you'd like to see new things being done as opposed to just funding certain projects.
Necessities, that's right. And the PTA's mission is every child's potential a reality. And so if PTAs are really bound with trying to help schools with some of those basic needs and supplies, then it does tie the hands of really being able to look at some of those unique new projects.
Cassandra, has that been your experience as well? You're seeing sort of fewer new special projects and really things to, I don't know, kind of fill the gap?
Yes, there has been. As I was mentioning to Ashley, my daughter, when she went to kindergarten, her list to take to school was very short. There were maybe 3 to 4 items, and by the time my son got to school 3 years later, the list had gotten longer. And even as the years progressed, as they both got to high school, the lists got even longer with paper requests, sticky notes, glue sticks, all these. There's just a long list of things that the teachers do need. And at Heritage High School, which is the school that I helped charter the PTSA at, we even did a supply drive to try to help the teachers get just basic supplies.
Well, and the community is really generous about things like that. People like to do that. You've got all sorts of programs, whether nonprofits and churches and other organizations. But as we said, it does seem to be filling a gap as opposed to doing something special. In fact, I know when I take my own daughter out school shopping before the school year, you'll see parents out buying, having a whole cartload of things at, a Walmart or Target or Office Depot, and then of course you'll see teachers pushing on. They're buying the same things. It's kind of like a little bit of both going on. And I know Ashley, you've got kids in the schools too. You see the same thing.
Absolutely, and the list grows. And then to hear teachers talk about spending $400 and $500 out of their own pockets, and it's one of the reasons that North Carolina PTA has really focused on advocacy. So not only are PTAs working within their individual schools, but also focusing on bringing our policymakers into our schools so that they can see those needs firsthand and can communicate with the teachers and administrators.
Did you, I know you heard our first two guests, our teachers, they were both talked about spending $600 already?
Right.
Does that shock you?
Unfortunately, no. And working with North Carolina PTA, we hear from PTAs throughout the state, and that does seem to be a constant theme that we're hearing not only from teachers, there is the T in the PTA, but also from parents as well.
Right. Now, Cassandra, I'm sure you've also seen a lot of, I'm sure PTA probably uses this as well as individual teachers. seeing a proliferation of websites, GoFundMe sites, Donors Choose. Another way to do it, but again, I mean, is that something that you've noticed more with teachers in the schools that you support and where your kids are?
Well, not necessarily so, but I have seen it on social media. I know that there have been instances where the teachers have come to us and said, hey, you know, can you fund this for us? We need this for our classroom, as an individual PTA at a high school level. Not so much when it was middle school or elementary schools, and of course that was a while ago, but now I think that is the case.
Ashley, let me wrap up with you. Obviously, Wake County, we're one of the wealthier counties in North Carolina, so you have PTAs, obviously, that can also raise a lot of money. That's not always the case in not just in Wake County, but in rural counties. How does PTA try to help those schools too?
Absolutely, and it's one of the reasons that we do focus so much on advocacy, because where you have significant needs that aren't being met, that really takes action from policymakers. And so PTAs really can't fill the gaps, and if they can't fill the gaps in counties like Wake County, they certainly can't fill the gaps in counties that don't have the income rates that Wake County does.
Right. Well, thank you both for what you're doing. On our website, you have links to how to get involved with your PTAs. Do great work. When we come back, we're going to East Wake County for our weekly Leadership Spotlight.